Hello everyone. In this session, let us discuss line and staff organization. So it is a combination of both line and in this organization we are going to take the advantage of both line and staff organization. So in order to read the advantage of both line organization and functional organization, a new type of organization is developed, that is line and staff organization. In line and staff organization, the line authority remains the same as it does in the line organization. Authority flows from top to bottom. In addition, the specialists are attached to line managers to advise them on important matters. See here, this is the line and staff organization chart. At the top, we are going to see the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and then economist, legal advisor. He is going to pass on the orders to these people, and these are going to pass on the orders to the marketing manager, production manager, finance manager. So at each and every line here, it avoids the complexity as we have seen in the function organization. And also the authority is going to flow from the top to bottom, that is CEO to production manager to foreman, and then workers. So the straight line here, this represents the line organization. This is the straight line. It represents the line organization, okay? And the broken lines, which represents the staff. This is the broken line. It is going to represent the staff, okay? So the combination of both line and staff organization. So as the industry grew in size and complexity, the line executives could not perform properly all other functions. Okay. So besides looking after production such as R&D, planning, distribution, legal, public relations, etc. This necessitated the employing of special executives to assist line executives, and they were known as staff as they were recruited to perform staff or specialist functions. The line executives retain supervisory authority and control over the work of their subordinates. Okay, where whereas the staff executives leave the line executives on certain specialized work and advise them on matters referred to them. The line executives are called doers. The line executives are called doers, and the staff here, the staff executives, legal advisor, economists, are called thinkers. The final decision whether to accept or implement the recommendations of the staff executives remain in the hands of line executives only. The line executives are marked vertically, whereas staff executives are placed horizontally. Okay. So here, if you go through the advantage and disadvantage of this, here we are going to have some specialized knowledge due to specialist staff. Due to specialist staff can be made here, can be made used here. And line here, it reduces the burden because of line managers. Line executives are relieved of some of their loads and are thus able to devote more attention towards production. Okay, and here better decisions as staff specialists help the line managers. And here you come across the less wastage of material, man and machine hours. The quality of product is improved. There is no confusion as exists in functional organization. It possesses all the advantages of both line and functional organization. It has unity of command as we have seen in the line organization. It is flexible when compared to functional organization. And coming to the next topic, disadvantages. Allocation of duties between the line and staff is not clear. So since we are going to make use of line executives as well as staff, specialized staff, it is not clear in allocation of duties. And there is generally conflict between the line and staff duties. Since staff are not, since the staff is not accountable, they may not be performing well. Difference between orientations of line and staff. Line executives deal within problem in a more practical manner, while staff tend to be more theoretical. So it may, so due to this, the product cost will increase because of higher salaries of staff executives. Okay, the line here, whenever a company is going to use this type of organization, such company products will have more cost. Why? Because they are going to pay high salaries to the staff executives. And there may be a tendency to blame each other if anything goes wrong. And there will be lack of coordination. This is due to lack of coordination between the line and the staff executives. These are the disadvantages. And then if you come across this application where we are going to use this means, this line and staff organization is very common among the medium and larger enterprises. And then next to our organization is project organization. Here, it is a this project organization is a structure. Uh, it facilitates the coordination and implementation of project activities. So this project organization is formed based upon the projects. So this organization is created whenever a new project is going to taken up. So its main reason is to create the environment that fosters interaction among the team members with a minimum amount of disruptions, overlaps, and conflict. So this is the overview of the project organization. First, there is a sponsor who is going to uh, give this project idea, and the person who is going to look after this project may be project manager, and there is a project specialist. Under this, we are going to have some system administrator, system analyst, technical assistant people, training people, and under this, hardware engineer, system analyst. Yeah, under this, we are going to have requirement analyst, technical clerk, and here we are going to have the software engineer and then database engineer. And next, training, we are going to have the training. We are going to have the technical support employee, and then quality and assurance manager, and then web designer, documentation. So finally, all these people are going to all these people are going to involve in the project. Let's see here. Next, we are going to have some advantage. What are the advantages of this project organization? So here, it is highly complex product systems. Best means of this. So it is an why? Because here it is an effective way of producing highly complex product systems. Project organization, it is based on team concept, is the best means of getting the right things done right. So in a turbulent environment, such organization is preferable for planning, implementing, and control of cost projects. And diverse interests are consolidated to the above problems. Creativity is developed through interaction with various specialists. It leads to the development of strong teamwork and teams with identify fully with the project goals. So mainly here it is going to have Uh, Mainly, this organization is created for a new project. So, in order to in order to completion of that project, they are going to allocate some system, and based upon that, they are going to allocate some people to complete the work. This project organization will be run as long as the project is going to be there. Once the project activity has been completed, then this organization is going to be ended. Coming to the disadvantage, so here a deliberate conflict is established between the project officer and the existing heads because of the overlapping of authority delegation. So, whenever there is overlap between the people regarding the authority delegation, then there may be a conflict. At the close of the project, there is every likelihood of at the close of the project, what happens? This organization is going to end. That means uh, there is every likelihood of insecurity of employment. There always lurks some danger of over specialization in the course of project involvement. Rotation. So rotation from project to project reduces employees' loyalty to the parent functional department. So it depends. Whenever the people are going to shift from one project to another project, here there the people's salary or the remuneration is going to reduce based upon the rotation of the employee. So with this, the project organization is completed, and then coming to the departmentalization. So departmentalization, here it refers to the process of grouping activities into departments. So in the organization, we can observe various activities. So various activities are going to be there in the production process. Some people are going to buy the raw material. Some people are going to inspect the material. Uh, some people are going to involve in the production process. Some people are going to involve in the planning and execution. So different activities you are going to observe. So with such, so it is very difficult to handle throughout the organization. It is very difficult to handle all the activities. So in order to make it easier, this departmentalization has been arised. This departmentalization refers to the process of grouping activities into departments. So division of labor creates specialists who need coordination. This coordination is facilitated by grouping specialists together in departments. The aim is to take advantages of division of labor and specialization up to certain limits. So here, this departmentalization are three types: centralized and decentralized, authority and responsibility, span of control. So here, in the coming section, let us discuss what are the different types. Here, we come across. See why we are going to opt this departmentalization, because here when the size of an enterprise grows, what happens? The number of employees also increases. So there is a limitation on the number of persons. There is a limitation on number of persons an enterprise can manage directly. This limitation restricts the size of enterprise, and it can be overcome by the process of departmentalization. Departmentation is the process of identifying and grouping of similar activities on some logical basis so that a team of persons can be organized in order to attain the objectives of the enterprise. So come across advantages. What are the advantages? Let me know. Let me tell. Since everyone knows clearly his duties and authorities, the efficiency of the enterprise increases. That is the first one. The efficiency of the enterprise is going to increase if you go through this departmentalization. And the jobs are well defined, and responsibilities are clarified, it is easy for accountability. The departmental managers are given opportunity to take initiative and learn new managerial skills. It provides a basis on which top management coordinate the activities of different departments. So in the coming session, we'll see what are the different types of, based upon what factors these departmentation is going to be classified. With this, I'm closing my session. Thank you one and all.